Picture this, a goddess so beautiful that even the gods themselves would go to war for her. So powerful that she could raise the dead and change her shape at will. So desired that kings would offer entire kingdoms just for one night with her. Meet Freyja, the Norse goddess who redefined what it meant to be divine. But here's the twist. Freyja wasn't just another pretty face in the pantheon. She was a warrior goddess who claimed half of all fallen heroes before Odin could get to them. She was a master of magic so feared that even the All-Father came to her for lessons, and she sparked more divine drama than a reality TV show. From her mysterious origins among the Vanir to her scandalous adventures in Asgard, Freyja's story is packed with magic, betrayal, epic quests, and enough romantic chaos to make your head spin. Ready to dive into the wildest divine soap opera Norse mythology has to offer? Long before Freyja became the talk of Asgard, she was born among the Vanir, a completely different group of gods. Think of them as the original nature deities who were all about fertility, wisdom, and seeing the future. The Vanir lived in Vanaheim, one of the 9 realms, where magic flowed like rivers and prosperity bloomed everywhere. Freyja's father was Njörður, the god of the sea, wind, and fishing. Her twin brother was Freyr, god of fertility and prosperity. Together, this divine family controlled the forces that made life possible: good harvests, fair winds, and abundant catches. But their peaceful world was about to get very complicated. The Aesir gods, that's Odin's crew, and the Vanir went to war. Nobody really remembers what started this divine conflict, but it was brutal. Picture cosmic-level destruction with gods hurling lightning bolts and reshaping entire landscapes. Eventually, both sides got tired of the carnage and decided to make peace. Here's where it gets interesting. The peace treaty included a hostage exchange. The Vanir sent their 3 most precious members to live with the Aesir forever. That's right, Freyja, Freyr, and Njörður became permanent residents of Asgard. Talk about the ultimate cultural exchange program. This wasn't just any random swap. The Vanir were bringing their most powerful magic users to live among warrior gods who barely understood sorcery. Freyja was about to introduce Asgard to types of magic they'd never imagined. And trust me, some of the Aesir were not ready for what was coming. When Freyja arrived in Asgard, she didn't just bring one divine portfolio, she brought 3. Love, beauty, and war might seem like a weird combination, but Freyja made it work perfectly. She understood something the other gods didn't. Passion drives everything, whether it's romance or battle. As the goddess of love, Freyja had power over all romantic relationships. Lovers would pray to her for success in courtship. Married couples asked for her blessing to keep their passion alive. But here's the kicker. Freyja's idea of love wasn't all flowers and poetry. Her love was fierce, consuming, and sometimes destructive. She believed true passion should shake the earth. Her beauty was legendary throughout all 9 realms. Ancient sources describe her as so stunning that her tears turned into gold when they hit the ground. Her golden hair caught sunlight like spun metal. Her eyes held the depth of northern seas. Even the frost giants, who usually hated all gods, would stop mid-rampage just to stare at her. But wait, there's more. Freyja was also a war goddess, which confused everyone at first. How could someone so beautiful love battle? Simple. Freyja understood that war and love shared the same raw emotions: passion, desire, the thrill of conquest. She didn't see them as opposites, but as 2 sides of the same coin. She rode into battle on a chariot pulled by 2 massive cats named Beigel and Trigul. Yes, cats. While other gods rode 8-legged horses or wolves, Freyja chose giant felines. These weren't cute house cats either. They were fierce, battle-hardened warriors who could tear through enemy lines. Talk about traveling in style while maintaining your feline dignity. Every great goddess needs a signature accessory, and Freyja's was the most coveted piece of jewelry in all the realms. The Brísingamen wasn't just any necklace. It was a masterpiece of dwarf craftsmanship that enhanced Freyja's already incredible beauty and power. But the story of how she got it? That's where things get spicy. 4 master dwarfs named Alfrig, Berling, Dvalin, and Grer, created this necklace in the depths of Nidavellir. They used techniques so advanced that even other dwarfs couldn't figure out their methods. The finished product was breathtaking. Golden chains intertwined with precious stones that seemed to hold captured starlight. When worn, it made the wearer irresistibly beautiful and amplified their magical abilities. Freya discovered the necklace by accident while exploring the dwarf realm. The moment she saw it, she knew she had to have it. But the dwarfs weren't interested in gold or favors. Their price was much more personal. Each of them wanted to spend one night with the goddess of love. 4 nights total for the necklace of a lifetime. Now, this wasn't about romance. This was a business transaction with very specific terms. Freya considered the offer carefully. The necklace would make her more powerful than ever before. It would cement her status as the most beautiful goddess in existence. After weighing her options, she agreed to the deal. The arrangement stayed secret for a while, but Loki eventually found out, because of course he did. He couldn't resist stirring up trouble with this juicy gossip. The story spread through Asgard faster than wildfire, causing quite the divine scandal. Some gods were shocked, others were jealous, and a few were secretly impressed by Freya's bold negotiating skills. Can you believe the drama that one necklace could cause? But hold on to your seats because Freya's magical adventures are just getting started. While other gods relied on brute strength or clever tricks, Freya mastered the most mysterious and feared form of Norse magic, Seidr. This wasn't your typical spellcasting. Seidr was deep, primal magic that could alter fate itself. It involved prophecy, necromancy, and manipulating the threads of destiny. And here's the kicker. It was considered women's magic that most male gods avoided. But not Odin. The All-Father was so fascinated by Freya's magical abilities that he literally begged her to teach him. Picture the king of all gods humbling himself before the Vanir goddess, asking for magic lessons like an eager student. Freya agreed, but she made sure Odin understood that Seidr came with a price. Practitioners often gain wisdom at the cost of their masculinity in Norse society. Freya's shape-shifting abilities were legendary. She owned a magical falcon cloak called Valshamr that let her transform into a bird and fly between the realms. This wasn't just convenient for travel, it was the ultimate spy tool. She could soar over battlefields, listen to secret conversations, and gather intelligence that no other god could access. Her magic extended to necromancy too. Freya could speak with the dead and even bring them back to life temporarily. Ancient texts describe her performing rituals with such power that even hardened warriors would tremble in fear. She understood death not as an ending, but as another realm to explore and control. The most terrifying aspect of her magic? Freya could see and manipulate fate itself. She knew which warriors would die in battle before they even picked up their swords. She could weave new destinies like a cosmic seamstress, changing the course of entire wars with a single spell. Talk about having the ultimate cheat codes for reality. Every powerful goddess has her weakness, and Freya's was her mysterious husband, Odin. Their love story reads like the ultimate tragedy, passionate, beautiful, and heartbreaking. Odin was everything Freya desired, adventurous, passionate, and completely unpredictable. But he had one fatal flaw. He couldn't stay in one place. Odin was a wanderer by nature. He would disappear for months or even years, traveling to distant realms on mysterious quests. Each time he left, Freya's heart would break a little more. The goddess who controlled love couldn't control the one love that mattered most to her. The irony was devastating. When Odin vanished for the longest time yet, Freya couldn't take it anymore. She abandoned her duties in Asgard and began searching every realm for her missing husband. Picture the goddess of beauty wandering through dangerous territories, her golden tears falling like precious rain wherever she went. Those tears turned into amber when they hit trees and gold when they hit the ground. Freya took on different names during her quest. She called herself Mardol, Seer, and Geffen, each identity representing a different aspect of her desperate search. She traveled through Midgard disguised as a mortal woman asking everyone she met about a mysterious wandering man. Some scholars believe this is why ancient people associated amber with tears of the gods. The search consumed her completely. Freya, who once commanded respect and fear from all the gods, became a heartbroken wanderer herself. She learned that even divine power couldn't guarantee happiness and love. Sometimes the thing you want most is the one thing you can never truly possess. But here's what makes this story incredible. Freya never gave up hope. Even today, some say she's still searching, still believing that love can conquer any distance or time. Now that's dedication that would make any romantic jealous. Think Odin's Valhalla was the only afterlife destination for fallen warriors. Think again. Freya had her own hall called Fólkvangr, and she got first pick of the battlefield dead. That's right. The goddess of love was also running her own version of warrior heaven, and it was arguably better than Odin's famous hall. Here's how it worked. When warriors died in battle, Freya got to choose half of them for Fólkvangr before Odin's Valkyries could claim them for Valhalla. This wasn't some consolation prize either. Freya specifically chose the bravest and most honorable fighters. Her hall was called Field of the Folk, and it was described as a beautiful meadow where chosen warriors could rest in peace. The competition between Fólkvangr and Valhalla created some serious divine tension. Imagine Odin, the All-Father himself, having to wait his turn while Freya picked the cream of the crop. Some scholars believe this reflects the ancient merger between Vanir death customs and Asir warrior culture. But for the gods, it was just awkward family dynamics at cosmic levels. Freya's approach to honoring the dead was different from Odin's. While Valhalla focused on preparing for Ragnarok with endless fighting and feasting, Fólkvangr offered something more peaceful. Warriors could finally rest, surrounded by beauty and tranquility. It was afterlife therapy compared to Valhalla's eternal boot camp. The most interesting part? Many warriors actually preferred the idea of Fólkvangr over Valhalla. Being chosen by the goddess of love and beauty felt more special than joining Odin's army. Plus, Freya's hall didn't come with the pressure of preparing for the end of the world. Sometimes a peaceful afterlife beats eternal warrior training. This division of the dead shows just how powerful Freya was. She could challenge Odin's authority and get away with it. Not many gods could claim that level of independence in the Norse pantheon. If Freya was the goddess of love, she definitely practiced what she preached. Her romantic adventures became legendary throughout all 9 realms, creating more gossip than a divine soap opera. But these weren't just casual flings. Each relationship revealed something important about Norse values and the complex nature of divine love. Besides her tragic marriage to Odin, Freya had numerous other relationships that shocked and fascinated the gods. She was linked romantically with several prominent figures, including some surprising choices that raised eyebrows even in divine circles. The Norse didn't shame her for this. They actually respected her freedom to choose her own romantic destiny. One of the most controversial stories involved 4 different lovers in a single night, those dwarf craftsmen who made Brísingamen. But as we discussed earlier, this was more business transaction than romance. Freya understood that sometimes you have to make difficult choices to gain power. The gods learned not to judge her too harshly for strategic decisions. Her relationship with various giants also caused quite a stir. Remember, giants were supposed to be enemies of the gods, but Freya didn't let politics interfere with attraction. She had romantic encounters with several giant suitors, proving that love could cross even the most forbidden boundaries. Talk about breaking down barriers. The most persistent suitor was probably Thrym, the giant king who once stole Thor's hammer just to force a marriage proposal. Spoiler alert, that plan didn't work out well for him, but it shows how desperately even enemies of the gods wanted to win Freya's affection. What made Freya's love life so fascinating wasn't the scandal. It was her complete agency over her choices. In a world where most goddesses were defined by their relationships to male gods, Freya defined herself. She chose her lovers, set her terms, and never apologized for following her desires. Revolutionary for any era. Just when you thought the Brísingamen necklace drama was over, along comes Loki to make everything infinitely worse. the trickster god couldn't resist the ultimate prank, stealing the most precious possession of the most powerful goddess in Asgard. This theft would become one of the most elaborate divine heists in Norse mythology. Loki had been obsessing over Freya's necklace ever since he discovered how she obtained it. The scandal wasn't enough for him. He wanted to possess the source of her enhanced beauty and power. So he devised the most audacious plan imaginable. Break into Freya's private chambers and steal Brísingamen while she slept. The theft itself was a masterpiece of supernatural burglary. Loki used his shape-shifting abilities to transform into a fly, buzzing through the tiniest gaps in Freya's hall. He found the goddess sleeping peacefully, the necklace glowing softly around her neck. But here's the problem. The clasp was positioned where he couldn't reach it without waking her. Ever resourceful, Loki transformed into a flea and bit Freya just hard enough to make her shift in her sleep. When she rolled over, the clasp became accessible. He carefully removed Brísingamen and escaped, probably giggling to himself about his clever solution. The next morning, Freya discovered the theft, and her rage shook the foundations of Asgard. Odin initially found the whole situation amusing until Freya confronted him directly. She demanded justice and threatened to leave Asgard forever if her necklace wasn't returned. Suddenly, the All-Father realized this wasn't just a harmless prank. It was a diplomatic crisis that could restart the war between Vanir and Aesir gods. The resolution involved some serious divine negotiation and a few strategic compromises. But the incident proved something important. Even Loki knew better than to push Freya too far. Some goddesses were simply too powerful to mess with for long. When the final battle of Ragnarok arrives, Freya's role becomes both tragic and essential. The twilight of the gods doesn't spare anyone, not even the most beautiful and powerful goddess in the pantheon. But Freya faces the end with the same fierce determination she brought to everything else in her divine life. As the forces of chaos gather for the final battle, Freya must watch everything she's built crumble around her. Fólkvangr empties as her chosen warriors march to their final fight. The magic that once seemed so powerful proves useless against the inevitable destruction of all 9 realms. Even her precious Brísingamen can't protect against cosmic-level annihilation. But here's what makes Freya's end so poignant. She doesn't go down without a fight. The goddess who mastered Seidr magic uses every spell in her arsenal to protect what matters most. She fights alongside gods who once looked down on her Vanir origins, proving that when existence itself is at stake, old prejudices become meaningless. Some versions of the myth suggest that Freya's knowledge of fate magic gives her unique insight into Ragnarok's outcome. She might be one of the few gods who truly understands what's coming and why it's necessary. The cycle of destruction and rebirth isn't just an ending, it's preparation for a new beginning. The most heartbreaking aspect? Freya might finally be reunited with Odin in death, finding in destruction the peace that eluded her in life. After spending eternity searching for her lost love, Ragnarok could be the ultimate reunion. Sometimes endings are actually the beginnings we've been waiting for all along. Even as the world burns around her, Freya remains true to her nature, passionate, powerful, and uncompromising until the very end. Freya's influence didn't end with Ragnarok. She's alive and thriving in modern culture. From Marvel movies to fantasy novels, the Norse goddess of love and war continues to captivate audiences worldwide. But her modern interpretations reveal how much our understanding of female power has evolved since ancient times. In contemporary fiction, Freya often appears as the ultimate feminist icon, a goddess who refused to be defined by others' expectations. Authors love exploring her complexity, beautiful but deadly, loving but independent, magical but grounded in practical wisdom. She represents the modern ideal of women who can be multiple things simultaneously without apology. Video games have embraced Freya enthusiastically. She appears in everything from strategy games to action RPGs, usually portrayed as a powerful magic user with incredible beauty and fierce combat skills. Game developers particularly love her shape-shifting abilities. Nothing beats a character who can turn into a falcon mid-battle. The jewelry industry has had a field day with Brísingamen references. Countless necklace designs claim inspiration from Freya's legendary accessory. While modern versions might not require sleeping with four dwarfs, they still promise to enhance the wearer's beauty and confidence. Marketing Freya's aesthetic has become a multi-billion-dollar industry. Modern paganism and Norse spiritual practices have particularly embraced Freya as a symbol of divine feminine power. Contemporary practitioners see her as representing the integration of love and strength, beauty and battle prowess. She's become a patron goddess for people who refuse to choose between being powerful and being loving. Perhaps most importantly, Freya's story resonates with anyone who's ever felt caught between different worlds or expectations. Her journey from Vanir outsider to Aesir power player mirrors modern experiences of cultural adaptation and finding your place in new environments. The goddess who once made gods tremble with desire and fear continues to inspire people to embrace their full complexity. Not bad for a mythological figure who's been dead for over 1,000 years. Freya proves that truly compelling characters never really die. They just find new ways to capture our imagination.